Hi guys, it's Tech Boy here with another video. This video is talking about Apple's predictions for 2014. Because the video for 2013 was so popular, I personally decided to do another video based on it for 2014. So this video basically sums up what I am predicting for Apple to announce during 2014. And there's a lot to cover, so let's just get straight into it. The easiest way to cover all this stuff is talking about all the different categories. You thought I was going to say rumours because of the previous videos. No, categories. And there's a lot of areas to cover in this video, including the potential of a new category, iPhones, iOS, iPods and iTunes, iPads and Macs. If you click on any of these now, it will take you to that relevant part in the video. So now let's move right along and talk about the potential new category they could announce in 2014. The iWatch or the Apple TV set needs to come out in 2014. Otherwise, Apple's going to look like they're lacking innovation, as it will be 4 years since the iPad initially debuted and 7 years since the original iPhone, considering that the iPhone and the iPad have the same technology, except the iPad is a bigger screen. I've had more of an interest in seeing the Apple TV set being released instead of the iWatch, because I personally wear a watch at the moment and all that. But the iWatch will probably be the one announced, because Apple's struggling to get content deals with producers and publishers. Almost everyone, if not all, already have a TV, and they'll feel less inclined to update their TV if they find nothing wrong with it, but they'll probably update their TV if it has Ultra HD or 4K, if they have a large enough screen to make it worthwhile upgrading to that resolution. For the average person, they are more likely to be out of the house more often than being at home, so an iWatch would get more use for the fact that it's always on your wrist, and even if you're just checking the time on it, you're looking at your watch more than you would be watching TV at home. It'll have an operating system on it that is very similar to the look and feel of iOS 8, I personally believe, but it will possibly come with an app in iOS 8 itself that will enable it to set it up via Bluetooth, probably. And just a little addition at the end here, for the Apple TV box, I personally think that it will receive an update for support for 802.11ac support and the A7 chip to provide enough power for 4K support. So let's move right along now and talk about iPhone. The iPhone in 2014 needs to be a blockbuster, period. If Apple is ever going to gain market share and or increase their sales, they need to make it massive. I am predicting the following will happen when the new iPhones are launched in September 2014. Not June, September. The iPhone 5C will drop to $0 on a 2-year contract with 16 gig of storage. They'll scrap the 32 gig, and it's at the price point everyone thought it would be this year. The iPhone 6 will cost $99 on 2-year contract with 16 gigabytes of storage, and $32 and $64, $100 more. So $99, $199, and $299. Then I am predicting the iPhone 6L to be $100 more than the iPhone 6. And you're probably thinking, L, not another letter. But I think you'll see where I'm getting this idea from as of this point in time. I'm not a part of Apple or anything like that. I'm just personally coming up with this idea myself. The iPhone 6 and 6L will receive the following, in my opinion. A redesign, the A8 chip, maybe quad-core processor in it, but only if iOS takes advantage of it. 12 or 13 megapixel camera on the back with the same size pixels as the iPhone 5S's camera, which is a big differentiator compared to all the other phones out there, and slow-mo video at 1080p. iPhone 5S does it at 720p. The iPhone 6 will have a 4-inch screen, just like the iPhone 5 and 5S and 5C, and the 6L will have a larger screen, hence why L, and it will have either a 4.5 or a 5-inch screen, and they'll probably just make an extra row of columns and an extra row of icons 3, 2, 1. They'll make an extra row and column of icons on the home screen, I imagine, if they go down the 5 inches route. But if it's 4.5 inches, everything will just be scaled to size. The iPhone 6 and 6L will remain the same thickness as each other, but it's probably going to be thinner than the 5S, as much as we don't want that to happen. And the 6L will have a larger battery to accommodate for a larger display, but it will probably be a selling point for many customers because it could have a battery that lasts longer than the 5S and or the 6. Hence it could last more than one day. I'm sure that would be a big differentiator. I mean, for people like me, if I personally haven't used a 5-inch screen on a regular basis, but I have tried it in shops and all that for all the other phones, would I go for a bigger screen and get a longer battery out of it? Possibly, but time will tell. So let's move along now to talk about iOS, which powers the iPhone and the iPad and iPods. iOS 8 will be previewed, with the first beta being announced, released at WWDC 2014, with a release date in September with the new iPhones. iOS 8 won't be as drastic as iOS 7, but I'm predicting the following to be included. A few of the icons will be redesigned due to complaints. I'm personally not a fan of Stocks and Compass, mainly because it's black and that's just not very colourful to match all the others. Camera, because I'm not a fan of the vintage camera and all that on it, considering the day and age we're in at the moment, but I understand where they went with it. And voice memos, it just looks ugly. Next. Live icon for weather app based on current location, but they should give you the option to turn it on or off. Offline Siri is a must, so you don't need the internet connection for every single delivering command, such as pausing and playing music. But if you need something for the internet connection, yes, I understand. Siri APIs for developers, so like Shazam, for example. Touch ID for gaining access to certain apps, programmed in settings and asked when the app opens. Public transit option in Apple Maps application, which I've heard is really high on the rumours. Optimization to work with a new screen resolution of which the iPhone 6L will receive. I'm expecting double the resolution of the iPhone 5S screen to make it 522 pixels per inch, or 2278 by 1280, to make it easier for developers. So it's like going from the 3GS to the 4. It will be going from the 5S, 5C, all those, to the 6L. A way to transfer music and videos between iOS devices, for example AirDrop, with the same Apple ID, so it doesn't avoid copyright infringement, transferring things, all that illegal crap. More customization for control centers, so you decide what type of controls appear, which order they appear in. Multiple account login via Touch ID for iPhone 5S, 6, 6L and 2014 iPads when they get Touch ID. And for older generations via selecting a bubble, very similar to what they have on Android at the moment. Or it could be each person has their own unique 4-digit PIN, so everyone has a different 4-digit PIN to unlock their own relevant stuff. Advanced technologies like they did in Maverick, so mainly for extending battery life and getting more out of the RAM. A new application that we didn't see coming, could be for iWatch and Apple TV set related. And more ways to customize the parallax effect, so no moving icons on the screen and the background not moving and all that, but allowing the zoom in effect. I'm personally quite upset that they got rid of that in the reduced motion bit in iOS 7.0.3, but maybe they'll add it back. More sounds to make the phone more unique. Integration for more internet services like Facebook and Flickr, but possibly for LinkedIn. And that's all I'm going to talk about for iOS. Next, the iPad. iPad Air 2nd generation and iPad Mini 3rd generation will be announced and will have the following additions come October 2014. Touch ID, A8 processor, 8 megapixel rear facing camera, like the 5S and 5C. Only if the 6 and 6L get the 12 or 13 megapixel camera, otherwise they won't do that at all. Some advancement in wireless technology, whether it be 802.11ac or more LTE coverage. I'm hoping there will be an iPad Pro, hence why they called it iPad Air, so then they have iPad Pro. In comparison, MacBook Air, MacBook Pro will be announced June 2014, same time as the other iPads, and have the following differentiators. A 12 to 13 inch screen with a 16:9 aspect ratio, Retina display with a completely unique resolution, hence why there will be a lot of that optimization for new resolutions in iOS 8. Same thickness and specs as iPad Air and iPad Mini 2014 models. Come with a more powerful wall adapter and probably cost about $100 more than the iPad Air when that comes out, provided that they'll all remain at the same price points. So let's move on right along now to talk about iPod and iTunes. The iPod lineup is slowly declining because everything is in music. It is in everything now, including your computers, your iPhones, smartphones rather, your tablets, etc. But the predictions I have include iPod Shuffle will get double the storage, and Siri-like voices, including the new male and female voices that they have in iOS 7 for voice controls. iPod Nano will remain the same, but will get either a slight price drop or double the storage. iPod Touch will have two models. 16 gig model with black space grey for $199. 32 gig in same 5 colours as 5th gen, but they'll call it the 6th gen and price it at $299 and $399, and have the following specs: 5-inch display or 4.5 inch, depending on what they do with the iPhone, so we'll have exactly the same display. Not yet thinner, but rather in length and width to accommodate for the display and larger battery. 8 megapixel rear facing camera like iPad Air and Mini. A7 processor. And the iPod Classic, separately, the iPod Classic will probably stick around, because I personally think if they were ever going to get rid of it, they would have done it by now. Why would they all of a sudden want to get rid of it this year and not next or the one after or the year before now? Tough question, isn't it? iTunes will receive an incremental update to 11.2, obviously, for iOS 8 release, and will expand coverage for iTunes Radio to more countries once the paying agreements to stream all this music in all the different countries, including Australia, are sorted with all the record companies. That's it for iPod. Next, I want to talk about Mac. Mac business is very healthy from my perspective at the end of 2013, and the highlight was the Mac Pro, obviously, for 2013. So this year I'm expecting mainly general improvements, but also updated Mac Mini, iMac and MacBook Pro specs, new Airport Express that supports 802.11ac, updated MacBook Air with Retina display while maintaining the same design. It may be ever so slightly thicker, but it's probably not going to be noticeable, like iPad Mini to iPad Mini 2nd gen, barely noticeable. Apple Cinema display, Thunderbolt 2 Retina display, rather, to work in conjunction with the Mac Pro and 2014 MacBooks once they're compatible with higher resolutions and faster transfer rates. OS 10 10.10 will also be announced at WWDC 2014 alongside iOS 8 and will release in October 2014, much like this year. I do not personally use OS 10 Mavericks because I don't own a Mac. Funny about that. So, to be honest, I can't really comment on how I want the operating system to be improved because I personally don't use it. So, I'm going to leave that to others to judge. So, that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching if you watched to the end. The question for you, the audience, is if Apple made a 5-inch iPhone, would you switch or switch back to Apple if you are not with them currently? So, you can let me know by leaving a comment in the section below. And if you enjoyed this, please give it a like. It really does mean a lot. And if you choose to subscribe to my channel, but only if you want to. I'm not going to force you into it. So until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you later.